Back here at Walkons in Brusly, and we are back on YouTube now after a little bit of a short hiatus there at the beginning of the show. Second hour, we'll come back with LSU baseball and their big sweep over the weekend. Kind of a historic some numbers over the weekend. In the mean, we got to do LSU men's basketball looks a hell of a lot different than it did last week at this time. Both on the roster, on the bench, in the front office. Shall I say that? We'll get to that story as well. Want to tell you, though, that LSU women's basketball has picked up a big player in the transfer portal, a 6'5" center from Notre Dame named Kate Koval. Koval was a freshman last year at Notre Dame. She played in 32 games, started 10 of them, 5.3 points, 4.8 rebounds, 18 minutes per game. She was a top 5 national recruit when Notre Dame got her, and LSU was looking, obviously, with Anissa Morrow moving on to get some size in the post. Well, Koval will take care of that at 6'5". And again, she was a top 5 national recruit coming out of high school. She is originally from the Ukraine. Hour number 2, straight ahead, live at Walk-Ons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Go Automotive has a great selection of new cars. Chevy, GMC, Hummer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. You rather a pre-owned vehicle? Using our resources will help find you any vehicle that you're looking for. Our service department offers VIP service. You never have to come to the dealership. We'll pick up the vehicle at your home or office, drop off a loaner, service the vehicle, and return it when it's done. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. The Chevy Tahoe I drive came from Go Automotive. That's Go Automotive in LaPlace and Plaquemine. If you're near the north side of campus, I need to remind you about a couple of longtime favorites. Highland Coffee's the original specialty coffee shop in Baton Rouge since the 1980s. A personal favorite. Love getting my cappuccino from their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Roasted right in the shop. Louis Cafe for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. The Mitchell omelet, Cajun hash browns, Big Cheesy Lou, all served up in that famous open kitchen atmosphere. In Tigertown since 1941. A couple of great spots. Highland Coffee's and Louis Cafe just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com. This is Charles Haniger for Total Maintenance. Now is the time to get your AC cleaned and checked before those sweltering temperatures arrive. Ensure your unit is performing at max efficiency, lower your monthly bills, and prolong the life of your central air conditioner. Right now, mention my name or Jimmy Ott and get $100 off that service. Down from $179 to $79. Call Total Maintenance for generators, electricity, and plumbing issues. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000, and in New Orleans, call 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus. Heck, it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like the Mitchell, cheesy grits, Big Cheesy Lou, and those Louis original Cajun hash browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. If you missed the show, you can always check it out on demand at 1045ESPN.com, the 1045 ESPN app, or the After Further Review YouTube channel. AFR On Demand, brought to you by Breck Golf. Book your tee time today at golf.breck.org.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
ALS is a progressive and neurodegenerative disease, and we need your help to find a cure. The mission of the ALS Association, Louisiana-Mississippi chapter, is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS, and to serve, advocate for, and empower people affected by ALS to live their lives to the fullest. Whether you are newly diagnosed, a military veteran, a caregiver, or someone looking to learn more about how to navigate living with ALS, they can help. Visit als.org to learn more. That's als.org.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons and Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Walkons and Brusly. Again, we're back on the YouTube right now after some technical problems. Charles Handegriff, Max Gotro, Jimmy Ott is on vacation this week. Final Four concludes tonight. National championship game between Houston and Florida. Come on by right now. They have introduced their transfusion cocktail today, limited time, with the transfusion mix and a little bit of rum. Very refreshing, I understand, Max. So we may have to check this out. This is your stomping grounds.
It
here.
is. I frequent this establishment.
Max Gotro country here in Brusly. Also, their seasonal brews on tap right now. Over 4 dozen beers on tap. The NOLA Polymania beer is one of their spring brews. The Vacation Juice Pale Ale is also here on special right now as their seasonal brews right here at Walk-Ons in Brusly. LSU baseball went to Norman, Oklahoma, and swept 3 from what was previously the number 9 or number 10 team in the country, Oklahoma. Friday, we talked about Cade Anderson's gem. Absolute phenomenal performance. 135 pitches. As soon as we're finished with the show here today, going over to do a podcast with Dan Canterbury and Doug Thompson like we do every Monday on the Handycast. And I'm going to ask them about, the pitch count and what they think about it. That'll be posted on YouTube later on, probably late this afternoon. But we talked about that on Friday. So the game on Friday night was an absolute walkover for LSU. They won the game 10-2. Anthony Ianson continues to get better. This weekend, LSU's pitchers gave up no earned runs. That's something that hasn't happened in an SEC series since LSU's been keeping records. Okay, they've only gone 3 games without giving up an earned run a couple of times, period, in the modern era. But since they started keeping these stats for SEC games, which goes back to the early 90s, 92, I believe, is the first year they've got all complete records on this, according to what Todd Police told us. This is the first time they've ever gone through an SEC series and not given up an earned run. Now, let's do a little context here. This is LSU's first ever trip to L. Dale Mitchell Park. Max, when they went into this series, I thought, yeah, somewhere along the line, I've seen a game played at Oklahoma. As soon as I watched the intro and about an inning of baseball, I realized that I hadn't, because I would have remembered that. I visited every park in the Southeastern Conference when I was doing games. This was except for Missouri. All right. I can say that before Oklahoma and Texas came into the league, every park in the SEC was a hitter's park. I wouldn't. There are various degrees of hitter's parks, but every single one of them, reasonable dimensions, reasonable weather, reasonable amount of foul territory. They all favor the hitters. The 2 new additions to the league favor the pitchers, and I think they favor the Dish Falk Field and Dale Mitchell Field, Texas and Oklahoma.
I'll push back a little bit. The announcers mentioned this, that Dale Mitchell is actually a normally hitter-friendly ballpark because normally the wind is blowing out.
Okay.
And this week it was blowing in.
Right. And I got to it's 410 to straightaway to center field. Okay, so this is a big park. 410
Corners, it looks a little smaller.
It's
It kinda
330
comes
down the
in.
lines, which
Okay,
is the same
okay.
thing it is down here.
Sure.
But in the outfield,
Sure.
in the deepest part of the power alleys and straightaway
Yep.
center field, I don't think anybody else in the league goes 410. LSU goes 405, and doesn't sound like much, but it is. Now this weekend, the conditions were frigid. It was in the 40s. It felt much colder than that. I talked to people that were there. This was not a pleasant environment to watch a baseball game as far as the weather went, and everything that went to the outfield, just about it. So especially if it went into the center part, any power alley to power alley, it was just going to die out there. And so LSU's pitchers, I thought, did a good job keeping Oklahoma off balance. They may have walked a few, but they were pitching to contact because, man, look, it was just going to be very, very difficult to piece together enough hits with the way that the weather was going. And just like they have done several weekends in SEC play, they have gotten their 5 innings or so out of the starters besides Anderson, and in some cases Anderson, just not this weekend. And they've turned it over to Case and Evans, and they've turned it over to Zach Cowan. And these guys have become super closers. They're not 1-inning guys. They're not 2-inning guys. This weekend, Evans goes 3 1/3 and doesn't give up an earned run, and Cowan goes 4 and doesn't give up an earned run. If you're a pitching coach, this is utopia. And by the way, we send our condolences out to Nate Yeske, who lost his father on Thursday. We didn't mention that on Friday. Didn't know about it, but we'll send our condolences out to him. But if you can get 5 innings out of your starter and 4 innings out of your reliever, most pitching staffs aren't set up this way because you can't count on a 4-inning guy, a 3 or 4-inning guy out of your bullpen. You know why? Because if you could, he'd be in the starting rotation. You try and stretch him out a little bit more than that. These guys have been absolutely fantastic. That plus the conditions, even with what I thought was a little bit of a tight zone on Saturday for Game 3, and tight zone is being kind. I thought LSU's pitching was absolutely phenomenal. I thought Cowan had to throw strike 3 times to end the game.
Yeah,
at
least one of them
on Saturday. So you had a little bit of a tight zone, but man, the pitching conditions were absolutely great for pitchers, lousy for the hitters. But LSU did enough offensively. Again, you're seeing contributions from all over this lineup. Curiel is easy. All right. That's a guy who set a record this weekend for consecutive games on base. Jared Jones had another good weekend. But down at the bottom of the lineup, Luis Hernandez had 3 doubles on the weekend. And Chris Stanfield, who there was starting to be some rumblings among some of the fans. Hey, man, is he coming out of the lineup? No, he's not coming out of the lineup. He had 4 more hits in the game on Friday and 2 more at-bats on Saturday that I thought were key to the game. The walk and plus the run scored. And he is saving you runs in center field. I mean, maybe not in this series because everything was dead out there. But he's saving you runs in center field. As a base runner, he comes around to score on that double from first base, and the ball was in left field. This is no guarantee that he's going to score. He comes around, and that's a monster run. They won the game by 1 run. Okay, so his speed is helping you out. You want to get on him Friday night for missing a sign on the squeeze play. Well, yeah, you got to catch that sign. All right, that's on him. But I thought 2 other things. Number one, I thought they should have let him swing away because he had doubled the time before that. And then the second thing was, I'm not a real big fan of squeezing with the catcher at third base, the catcher running at third base. If you get the bunt down, it's going to be and it wasn't a suicide, but if you get the bunt down, it's going to be a bang play at the plate a lot of times. I don't want to do that with the catcher running. I'd rather let him swing away. I don't know how you feel about squeezing with the catcher running at third. I'm not wild about that. And they have executed a number of squeezes this year, regular and suicide. But I probably wouldn't do that with Hernandez at third base.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I wouldn't have done it, but yeah, I mean, they called it. He missed it. That's, whatever.
If he gets it down, is Hernandez definitely going to score? I don't know. He's the catcher running.
Right.
But his bats have picked up. They're getting Josh Pearson, who doesn't get to play every day, okay? Pearson is hitting right about 300 with power. He hits 2 home runs in a game on Friday. It's not the easiest thing to be in and out of lineup. He's got about 12 guys right now, 12 to 13 guys that he can put in this lineup and feel really good about it. I thought LSU's defense over the weekend, there were a couple of miscues, but for the most part, this has been a really sound defensive team. Max, they're 30-3. They're 10-2 in Southeastern Conference play. Everybody in this lineup can hit. You got 3 good starting pitchers. Okay, you got to kind of reevaluate what you think of as good starting pitchers. We talked about this with Anderson before he went to 9 innings. It's like, listen, if he's just a 5 or 6 inning guy, that's what it is. They don't expect him to do what Aaron Nola or Alex Lang or those guys or certainly Paul Skeens did, because those guys were, they got you deep in the game. It's like, well, I don't know if Anderson can do that. Well, now I know he can. He did it on Thursday night. Shores, I thought, was better this week than he was last week. I thought he was better last week than he was the week before that. I think he continues to get better. They only had to use 5 guys the whole weekend. What did we make fun of last week? Whoever it was that said, I just don't know, after you get past the first 6 or 7 guys, how many, good pitchers LSU has. Like, boss, I didn't see them get to the College World Series and win it with less than 5 pitchers that were really good. So that's plenty enough. You're playing good defense. You've got good starting pitching. You've got 2 lights-out relievers. You've got a good base-running team. There's nothing about this team that I don't like. They're not perfect. Do I wish I had one more guy out of the bullpen that I could count on? Sure. And when I get one more, I'd like one more after that. Maybe it's Newt, who's 2 years post Tommy John now. Maybe it's Schmidt. The light comes on for the freshman late in the season. I can remember Zach Hess, who was lights out, unhittable in Omaha in 2017, struggling as late as the end of April that year. I remember Thatcher Hurd in 2023 struggling against a game against Nichols, who they play this week, in a midweek start in April. And I'm thinking, man, can they count on that guy? And he ends up pitching a national championship game. So there's plenty of time for 1 or 2 more guys to come out of that bullpen. But I got 5 guys. I mean, here at the beginning of April, it's before tax time. That skips big things. Like, by tax time, I want to know. I know plenty about this team. I know that everything they do is good enough to win this whole thing. I don't know if they're, when it comes time, are they going to get the key hit, get the key out, make the key defensive play like they did in 23? I don't know, but I know that they got enough. And they're 10-2. Look, I would love for them to win the Southeastern Conference, but by no means do they have to. They could play 500 ball the rest of the way, and I don't think they will, but they could and still be a top 8 national seed. I mean, if you get to 19-11, you got a great shot to be a national seed out of this conference. You still got games against buku top 15 RPI teams, including 3 this weekend. They got everything you need.
A couple of things. So
they're not perfect. There's room for improvement, but they got everything they need.
Let me backtrack on Stanfield. You mentioned Friday. I was I got it confused. That was game 2, not game 1. I was thinking back. He was 4 or 5. He was peppering the left fielder that game. He was incredible. Stanfield was 4 or 5, but 3 hits to the left fielder. The poor left fielder couldn't catch it there in the 9th when they were getting roughed up. I was getting roughed up too because they had the under. But regardless, Stanfield was great, and he should be in center field probably the rest of the season unless something changes.
He will be.
LSU no earned runs the whole week. I don't care if the wind's blowing 50 miles an hour, and that's great. That is incredible. And the other good thing about it is wind blowing in, the park was playing big. Whether it was normal or abnormal, we could argue about that. But you know what? Omaha plays big. So guess what? You got to throw strikes there. You got to challenge hitters there, and they did a good job of that this week against what was a top 10 team. The one little thing I will say, I've seen way too many people, and maybe it's just the algorithms on my Twitter account. Way too many LSU fans complaining about rankings. Where is LSU ranked? It doesn't matter. Okay, whether they're ahead of Tennessee, they're now third in the D1 baseball top 25. Doesn't matter. Get to Omaha. They're a great team. They're as great of a team right now as you could ask for, I think, at this point in the season because of the lack of questions that we really have. Sure, you might want a couple of pitchers here and there. You might want a deeper bullpen. We're going to find out because every year in Omaha, there are a couple of players who we don't expect who have elevated their games for LSU. So you got to love with where you are right now. It's hard to, if you're asking questions about certain parts of this team, you're grasping at straws really because, I mean, they didn't win the series against the best team they played in Texas on the road. Like, is that what we're going to hold our hat on? I mean, LSU has been outstanding so far this year, and last weekend was no exception.
I don't care about the rankings. I really don't. It just for when you get to the end of April, the beginning of May, I start to take a longer look at the RPI. We've got enough of a sample size now that we know they're going to be fine there. They're, just in case you're curious, they're number 6 today. That's plenty. Arkansas is number 1. They play 3 games with them.
You're on Baseball America.
I'm looking at the RPIs. The RPIs.
Gotcha.
Arkansas is number 1. They play 3 games with them. Tennessee's number 5. They play 3 games with them. Alabama's number 9. They play 3 games with them. Auburn's number 15. They play 3 games with them. RPI is not going to be a
coming
problem.
up.
Yeah, RPI is not going to be a problem at all. All you got to do is keep yourself in the top 8. I honestly, I don't care all that much whether they are a 4 seed. No, I'm talking about national seed. Number 4 national seed, number 5 national seed, number 2 national seed. They've never been the number 1 national seed. Just so you know, so that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that the games are in Baton Rouge. The games are in Baton Rouge, then that's all you can do. Okay, somebody comes in to this stadium and beats them twice in June. God bless you. Did everything you could. So to set up the regular season, they've done everything you could do. I'm glad you brought up Omaha though about the challenging the pitchers. I asked Jay Johnson. We did a forum before the season started with some guys, and I said, what's the challenge at playing at that park versus what you play in every week? I just told you earlier. Pretty much every park in the league plays as a hitter's park. Most of them play similar to the box. Now, not Oklahoma this weekend and not Texas necessarily, but the rest of them, when you count on home runs, and this is not a team that's hitting a gigantic amount of home runs, and then you get to Omaha and it's harder to hit home runs. I've seen enough games in that park now. It's just tough to poke it out of that place. Well, you've been playing one way the whole year, and then you get to the championship to win it. You got to kind of play a little bit different. This team doesn't. I mean, they'll hit some home runs, but it's not like they are dependent on the homer to score runs.
Stanfield on Friday. There you go. 4-5. An infield single and a single and 2 doubles, I believe, to left field. Just piecing them up in the ballpark.
And so you say, well, why don't you build your team like that every year to win in Omaha? Well, you got to win here to get there. Okay, so you can't just throw it away. I mean, you got to play 30 games in SEC parks where it's not nearly as hard to yank a ball out of the yard. So it's a balance. Right now, they've got that balance. There ain't much about this team that I don't like. Honestly, I mean, we got a long way to go, but they've swept 3 out of 4 SEC series. They put themselves in a position where they can kind of limp home if they wanted to and still host. And I don't expect them to limp home. In fact, anything but. I think this team will probably end up winning 22 games in the Southeastern Conference. I don't know if that's enough to win the league. I love regular season baseball, but winning the conference championship is not the most important thing here. Just getting in that top 8 is. So if Texas edges them by a game, or Arkansas or Georgia or whoever, Tennessee edges them by a game, so be it. Just give me the top 8. And they're good. If they don't do that at this point, it will be a huge surprise.
The pitching staff, we had some questions about them at points in this year. I love them the way it is right now. Now, throw an injury or two in there, albeit hope to death not.
Well,
then that would change things. But that happens everywhere. That happens everywhere.
The questions are going to be, who can you count on after the top 5?
Right.
There are a half a dozen guys that I think could emerge. I don't know if any of them will, but is Maverick Rizzi good enough to pitch in this league? Again, yes. Is William Schmidt good? Yes. Jaden Newt? Yes. Yep. I mean, all of these guys, and there's 3 or 4 more. I just need 1 or 2 of those guys to emerge, and that's really just to kind of get you through the rest of the season. They got enough frontline guys to win and win big. Schedule, is pretty thick the next 4 weeks. You got Auburn, you got Alabama, you got Tennessee. Texas A&M is now showing signs of life, but when you get them a month later, they're off to a terrible start. This stuff ain't automatic, man. Florida is 1-11. Last year, what was LSU at this time? They were 3-9, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I don't care how good your recruiting is or your team is or whatever. You still got to go out and win games. It's not the uniforms don't win anything. You got to go out there and execute, and they've done it. So you're in the middle of a 2-week road trip. You go to Nichols tomorrow night. Get the rest of the bullpen some work. I mean, those guys all need to pitch
pitching right now.
You can leave the top 5 guys home. You have to go down to Thibodeau, send everybody else, get through that game, and then go to Auburn this weekend, and then you come home for 3 out of 4 in Southeastern Conference play. So LSU with a big weekend this week. You had the rest of the rankings.
D1 baseball: Arkansas, Texas, LSU, Clemson, Tennessee, and then outside the top 5, Ole Miss is 6th, Georgia 7th. Florida State had a rough weekend. Wake Forest took 2 out of 3. I think run ruled them
twice. They scored very many runs.
They're 9th after being 4th last week. Auburn is 11th. That's who's coming this weekend. So Auburn 11th, Alabama 12th. Their next 2 SEC series.
We're brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. Listen, when you're having these I'm going to call them fluctuations in the market, it's easy to get nervous. Fluctuation is a very nice word today, right? What you want is somebody that you can trust that can keep you abreast of what is going on, that will work with you. Coastal Capital Advisors will do that. I had a conversation this morning with Philip. So when you have these situations, hey, what do I do? And not to panic and to take advice from people who know what they're doing, deal with this every single day. Coastal Capital Advisors, they're going to tailor-make a plan for you in retirement. They're going to be able to work that plan, and they're going to be able to keep you up to date. It is a lifetime plan. Coastal Capital Advisors, they'll work with you as well as your business partners and your legal team, your tax professionals, to get you where you want to go as far as your financial goals. It doesn't matter where you are in life, no matter what your age, no matter what your financial situation, Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. 337-981-1376. Online, coastalcapitaladv.com. Philip Fontenot and his staff. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. We'll take a break. Live at lunch from the Walkons in Brusly, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get every time you call 296-0060. Ashley Bonham Donald, Mariana Broussard Haynes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, and Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses you but you. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at lunch.
This is Charles Hanniger for Total Maintenance. Now is the time to get your AC cleaned and checked before those sweltering temperatures arrive. Ensure your unit is performing at max efficiency, lower your monthly bills, and prolong the life of your central air conditioner. Right now, mention my name or Jimmy Ott and get $100 off that service. Down from $179 to $79. Call Total Maintenance for generators, electricity, and plumbing issues. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000, and in New Orleans, call 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance.
Our 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon presented by the Baton Rouge Clinic is happening right now, and we couldn't make dreams come true without your help. This year, Service Chevrolet, Luba, Subaru of Baton Rouge, and Duplessis Builders have each pledged to match your donations once we reach $2,000. Whatever amount you can spare will get us that much closer to making more dreams come true for local kids suffering life-threatening illnesses.
Visit 1045ESPN.com to donate today.
Get Moss Max and less text during happy hour at Modesto. Join us Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. for $10 20-ounce margaritas and Dip Trio with $5 drink specials and $6 seasonal cocktails. Eat Modesto, 3930 Burbank Drive.
Pizza that's true to its hand-tossed wood-fried tradition. Roca Pizzeria is heating up its new half-off happy hour, Monday through Fridays, 3 to 6 p.m. Come enjoy 50% off margarita, pepperoni, 4 cheese, craft cocktails, wine by the glass, and draft beer. Roca Pizzeria, 3897 Government.
Congratulations are in order for one of my favorite places to eat, Snow Seafood and Steaks, celebrating its 50th anniversary. That's right, since 1971, Snow's has been serving a wide assortment of menu items to please everyone. Steaks, seafood, gumbo, homemade soup, salad, specialty cocktails, great wine selection, and oh yes, the best white chocolate bread pudding that you'll find anywhere. It's the total dining experience. Happy 50th anniversary to my friends at Snow's Seafood and Steak, Airline Highway at Highway 74 in Gonzales. By now, you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crowntown Room at Dozy Place. The Crowntown Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. The tamales are the most popular appetizer, but don't forget the seared tuna with the sriracha glaze for the perfect blend of sweet and spicy. You can't go wrong also with the flash fried oysters or the shrimp. The porterhouse is the perfect steak to share. Strip on one side, filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Dozy Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
This hour of Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny is brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. Roto-Rooter for all your plumbing needs, 925-8710. Supreme Rice, grown, milled, processed in Louisiana since 1936. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on Jefferson Highway, 928-8659. Total Maintenance, your one-stop shop for AC, electrical, generators, and plumbing. Service today, every day for Total Maintenance. And Coastal Capital Advisors. Markets evolve. We adapt. The Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny Restaurant Club. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games since 1988. Louisiana Lagniappe on Perkins and Bluebonnet. Winner of the most 225's Best of Awards. Snow Seafood and Steak for over 50 years on Airline, Highway, and Highway 74 in Gonzales. Dozy Place for hand-cut steaks on Government Street and Mid-City. Louis Cafe, a Baton Rouge landmark since 1941. Just outside the north gates of LSU. Bomb, sushi, burrito, poke, ramen at Burbank and Lee. And Phil's Oyster Bar since 1950 on Government Street to now in the South Downs Shopping Center. Outdoors with Don Dubuque. Saturday mornings at 5 on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Here at Walkons in Brusly, where for a limited time they are offering the transfusion cocktail, the specific transfusion mix and a little bit of rum mixed in there. Try it tonight if you come by for the national championship game with Florida and Houston. Also on tap here, the new Vacation Juice Pale Ale, the NOLA Polymania beer is part of your seasonal beverages here at Walk-Ons. We're over 4 dozen beers on tap. They change out some of the ones here as your springtime beers. Funny that they're doing transfusion cocktails. And a transfusion of roster and bench in front office with LSU men's basketball. So since I may screw up the timeline a little bit here, but there's been movement this morning. There was movement over the weekend and a little bit late last week. So let me just kind of work backwards here. LSU a couple hours ago announced that Ronald Dupree is returning to LSU. Dupree, a member of John Brady's Sweet 16 team back in 2000, a terrific player here, spent 11 years in the pro. We had Ronald on the show one time. He was playing in Israel. and he went through all the different places he had played. You want to talk about a basketball globetrotter? I asked him when we had him on the show. I said, what's the strangest thing you ever encountered playing basketball anywhere in Europe or in Asia? And he says, well, when we were in, I think it was Lebanon, he says, you were looking out the hotel windows and the streets are on fire. So we had to, be a little bit careful there. So this guy's seen a little bit of everything. He's back this is LSU's first general manager. This has become in vogue now in the last, 2 years. General managers, the football teams had one for a few years, but this is the first one for the general manager. So what are they going to do? You're talking about player development. You're talking about data analysis. Basically, I would say, without knowing for sure, that the first thing this guy gets up and does every day, the general manager position, is you get up and see who's in the transfer portal, or you get up and see who's moving around. What they're tasking them to come up with is values for everybody that is available to you. This is how this works now. If the NBA, imagine it this way, if the NBA had every player eligible for free agency after the season, somebody in a front office somewhere would have to decide what every player in the league was worth. That's essentially what you have here. Every player in college basketball can become a free agent at the end of every season. Doesn't matter where they play, doesn't matter how good they are, doesn't matter what age they are, they can leave. Over 1,900 players in the transfer portal as of this morning. Dupree's job will be to keep abreast of the landscape. Who's available to us? What are they worth? How much money do we have to spend? I kind of scoffed at the idea of a general manager when LSU football first went. I was like, really? I thought this is what the head coach was supposed to do. There ain't enough hours in the day for a head coach to be able to put a value on everybody in the transfer portal in football or basketball, really. So this is what they do. I like I said, we've had Ronald Dupree on the show a few times. We covered him when he was at school. There's nothing I don't like about Ronald Dupree. He was a fantastic basketball player, and his basketball experience is extensive. So you're going to have a general manager, bring this guy back in.
I'm the last 8 years with the Milwaukee Bucks, most recently as director of global scouting, worked in some player development programs as well there. This is maybe the most optimistic thing that I've heard from this offseason.
Yeah, you're pumped about this.
I like this. Bringing a general manager, you're basically admitting, look, we haven't been taking advantage of the current system as well as we should. Let's bring in someone with experience who's, familiar with this program to actually, make some changes, elevate this program. I think you look at this, maybe this shows that you're taking a little bit more seriously. So I love this move.
That's seriously is a good word. I like that. And we can sit here and we can beat the crap out of them for what they've been mishmashing around for the last 3.5 years. And certainly we've done that. And it's aggravating. It's made a lot of people mad. And you've had to use kind of the language that you guys are just not taking. I've said it myself. You guys are just not taking men's basketball seriously. You don't want to win. Well, now it looks like you do. Okay. That doesn't mean you're going to, but it looks like now you're at least, you want to play on the same field as everybody else.
Stanford brought in Andrew Luck. Why? Because Stanford hasn't been performing to the levels they once were. So they have Frank Reich as an interim head coach. It's a little abnormal, but they've got Andrew Luck heading the program, doing something about it. So maybe Ronald Dupree Jr. can do something similar here.
They also added Yasir Rosemond, who is on the staff at Indiana the last 4 seasons as an assistant coach. So he will be joining the staff. He was with the Hoosiers for the last 4 seasons. He's also been at Oregon. He was at Seattle. He was at Georgia back in 2014. So another long career. Now, that's the front office and the staff. Max, in the last week, they have added 5 players Michael Nwoko from Mississippi State, a big body. Didon Thomas, the point guard from UNLV. We spent a lot of time talking about him last week. And then since we did another show, our last show, Rashad King, an 18-point game score. Actually, I think we did talk about King from Northeastern. Max McKinnon over the weekend from Portland. McKinnon, a shooting guard, 6'6", 200 pounds, coming to them from Portland. And the Summit League Player of the Year, the most recent one, Markel Sutton, 6'9", out of Omaha. This is a group of, and I'm going to, for the moment, I'm going to say that the headliners, Sutton, King, and Thomas, all come from various degrees of smaller schools. Okay, Max, are these guys going to be good in the Southeastern Conference?
Well, depends who you ask. Depends what you think.
Let me answer for you. You don't know. And
we don't know
either.
No, we don't.
And they don't. Okay. You can say, well, you can score 18 points a game at Northeastern. Can you score in the Southeastern Conference? I don't know. Let's do a little comparison here. Where are these guys ranked according to the On3 rankings? And the On3 rankings are not wild about these guys, but I don't really care about that. But I want to make a comparison here.
Yeah, so Didon Thomas, that's your best player in this class. 9th on 247 Sports, 23rd on On3. Then there's a bit of a gap between everybody else. Marquel Sutton, 56th or 130th of the transfer portal class. Rashad King's ranked 86th in 247, not in the top 200 of On3. Michael Nwoku is 88th in 247, and we don't have a ranking on Max McKinnon, who comes from the Summit League, as you mentioned, or comes from Portland, 12 and 20 Portland. So not a whole lot of eyeballs, I guess, on him.
Okay. Now give me the rankings on we picked 5 players, I think. 1 last year and 4 this year. Dalton Connect out of Northern Colorado before he went to Tennessee.
So a couple of these, most of these were 2023 transfers. So they've been there a couple of years now. But
Connect left after last year, but he came in 23.
Dalton Connect was 13th and 20th in those rankings in 2023.
Not terribly different from what Thomas is. Janai Broom.
Janai Broom was 13th, 247 Sports. That was 2022. So a few years he's had at Auburn since.
Walter Clayton.
This is the one you're trying to emulate. He was ranked 69th on 247 Sports in 2023, coming out of Iona, and was up to 22nd on On3. So On3 was maybe a little bit more right on that one, but that was the longer shot that's kind of worked out for Florida.
You can watch him play tonight. Mark Sears.
I don't have anything on him. I have a couple others. Grant Nelson.
I'm sorry, I said Mark Sears. But Sears came from Ohio, but
sure. Grant Nelson was out of North Dakota State. He was 3rd in the 2023 portal class, according to 247, and 6th. So top 6, however you cut it, for Grant Nelson, who's had a very meaningful impact for Alabama, even if they didn't make the Final Four.
Okay, I thought Sears was the 5th guy. Who you had one more?
Another guy who's playing tonight. He did come from Baylor, so not from a small school by any means.
LJ Cryer.
LJ Cryer, who was 6th or 13th, depending on where you look. So all these guys, with the exception of Walter Clayton, were universally top 20 prospects, and you really just have one in this class, and Didon Thomas, who's 9th, as I mentioned, in 247, 23rd in On3.
I think it's what you should be doing. It's prudent. You're getting the best players out of these smaller schools. Is it going to work? I don't know, but I don't know what else to go do. If you just do it out of the high schools, that's not going to be enough. If some of the guys he got out of Murray State and some other places haven't worked out. Are these guys going to work out? Who can say? If they can't coach them up, then okay, you're going to have to try something else. But at least they are trying. At least they are putting forth. They are spending some money. They are putting forth the effort. They are modeling themselves after what has been successful at comparable schools, like the University of Florida. That's all you can ask. If it doesn't work out, well, then you try something different. We'll have this discussion at the end of the season.
Depending where you look to, depends on what you think of this class. 247 Sports has LSU as the 3rd best portal class, but that only brings in additions. It doesn't tell you subtractions. On3 looks at both of these, actually has LSU down to 64th when you look at what's coming in, what's going out.
There's nobody that's leaving that I can't live without. Okay, I'm not saying they're bad players. There's nobody leaving that I can't live without. There's not. If Robert Miller would have left, that would have upset me because I think the kid's got a significantly high ceiling. But the rest of it, they're good players. Or they can be good players. Okay, and maybe they'll get better. But there's nobody leaving that I can't live without.
The two that have announced so far: Victorious Miller to Oklahoma State. I do kind of think LSU will miss him a little bit. And Corey Chest staying in the conference, going to Ole Miss. 6
schools in 6 years for Victorious Miller. 4 in high school, LSU, and now Oklahoma State. Where's he going to be next year?
Probably not Oklahoma State.
Right, not after the next season. We are brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff done a great job for me and my family. So if you've got neck pain, back pain, soreness, things that are keeping you from getting around as well as you'd like, or maybe these things are keeping you from getting a good night's sleep, let them target those problem areas and get you to feeling better, because that's what they've done with us, whether it be an exercise and stretching program or you get into dry needling, electric nerve stimulation, cryo, ultrasound therapy. They'll target those problem areas and get you back up to speed. Airline Highway, Plank Road, and Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Live at the Walkons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane. Segan and Perkins, between Perkins and I-10, right across from Ambrosia Bakery. So whatever, like your engine light comes on, bring it on in. Belts, hoses, wheels, tires, general services like AC repair, AC service, undercar services, transmission work, electrical work, electronic, whatever you need on your vehicle, bring it to Jason Payne, because what you want in a mechanic, his auto maintenance work, is a fair deal. You've heard the horror stories of getting upcharged for unnecessary work. Not the case at K&M Automotive. 8445 Segan Lane, Segan but Perkins, across from Ambrosia Bakery. We're open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Tell Jason you heard me talking about it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. It's the only place I take my vehicle, K&M Automotive on Segan Lane.
Live at lunch.
Our 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon, presented by the Baton Rouge Clinic, is happening right now, and we couldn't make dreams come true without your help. This year, Service Chevrolet, Luba, Subaru of Baton Rouge, and Duplessis Builders have each pledged to match your donations once we reach $2,000. Whatever amount you can spare will get us that much closer to making more dreams come true for local kids suffering life-threatening illnesses.
Visit 1045ESPN.com to donate today.
Now, everybody's been to Louis Cafe by campus. Heck, it's been around since over 80 years now. We're still doing delicious omelets like the Mitchell, cheesy grits, Big Cheesy Lou, and those Louis Original Cajun hash browns. We now offer a pickup window. Just call in your order at 346-8221. Give us 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll have it ready for you. Our hours are now 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., 7 days a week. So next time you visit campus, make it a point to stop by and visit an old friend. Louis Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, or even 8x40 feet. Not just one size. These units can be customized for any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers or welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, using different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padiella Workbox a call at 343-4886, 343-4886, and workboxllc.com. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road since 1988. A hometown favorite for tailgating and watching LSU games in a casual atmosphere with the friendliest service. Right now, we're boiling crawfish 7 days a week, Monday through Friday. First batch comes out at 5 p.m., weekends at noon. Sammy serves a wide mix of authentic Louisiana food prepared to order with the best ingredients available. Fresh Louisiana seafood, Cajun favorites, burgers, and po' boys, all built from scratch. Our kids' menu and popular appetizers are sure to please the pickiest of eaters. Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, near Starring since 1988.
Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has delighted their customers for all of your favorite South Louisiana dishes. Whether you like the brown, long grain, medium grain, jasmine, or the new parboiled rice, Supreme Rice makes your favorite dishes even better. They even have a healthy low glycemic rice, a great option for diabetics and those who have high insulin resistance. Supreme Rice is proud to be part of the Climate Smart program, which promotes water conservation and reduces methane emissions so future generations of Louisiana farmers can enjoy the same benefits. For more information and great recipes, find them online at supremerice.com.
The new location of Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Wesley across from Mike Anderson's. Man, the place looks great. Lots of indoor and outdoor seating options with plenty of big TVs to watch all your favorite games. All of the traditional Mexican cuisine with a great happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Plus, $5 margaritas all day, all night on Wednesdays. Great spot to bring the baseball team in between games, just 5 minutes north of Traction and 5 minutes south of LSU. Los Reyes Mexican Grill, 1072 West Lee, near Nicholson.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Return here at Walk-Ons. NFL draft 2 weeks from Thursday. Max, we're going to watch these odds pretty good. They can change in a hurry. For the moment, though, the favorite to take Shedeur Sanders is right down the road in New Orleans. Give me these updated numbers.
Yeah, the DraftKings Sportsbook, our good friends over at the Queen. You can bet on this right now if you wish. Current odds to draft Shedeur Sanders. The New Orleans Saints are 3-1, plus 300, followed by the New York Giants, who have the third overall pick at plus 350. The Steelers, who don't pick until, I believe, 21, they're all the way down at 6-1, so they're the third choice. And then the Browns, who pick second, are fourth choice. So the Saints, there's some thought that Shedeur Sanders might be falling out of the top 5 right now. The Saints with the 9th pick. Maybe they would stay there and take him. Maybe you could see them, I don't know, trade up to 7 trade with the Jets, kind of make sure they get their quarterback if that's their guy. Worth mentioning over the weekend or late last week, the Colorado Pro Day. It wasn't a Pro Day. It was called something else, Showcase or whatever. Kellen Moore was not there, but we did see Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter in action there. So just curious there that Shedeur is right now, if there was one favorite to take Shedeur Sanders, it's the Saints.
I have mixed feelings about this. The idea that Shedeur Sanders would be available to New Orleans is something I've only come around to in about the last week. Up until that point, I just figured he would be off the board, and I'm not in favor of the Saints trading up for anybody, Sanders or anybody else, because they've just got too many needs. But now the idea that he could be there is a very real possibility. There are things I like about him. I think that he is an accurate quarterback. I think he's got enough arm. It's not a weak arm. It's not going to be a top 6 arm in the league or anything like that. But he's got enough arm. He's got enough athleticism. He's got plenty of starts. He's played a lot of college football. So those are all the things that I like about him. If I had a knock on him, it would be that he held the ball too long in a lot of situations, trying to make a play. And he had that opportunity at Colorado a lot. that I don't think is something that's going to translate well to the next level. I mean, there were times where he would hold it. He'd buy himself some time. I think probably the decision making needs to get a little bit quicker, but that's any quarterback that you're talking about coming into the league. I'd probably say the same thing about Ward. I'd say the same thing about Dart. How fast can you process the information? There were times where Sanders, I thought, held the ball too long. But if they took him, I'd be okay. Now you got a quarterback that you're gonna put in with. Would I do it? Probably not. I would probably go in another direction. But if they take Shadur Sanders, okay, at least you have a plan now. Big fan of plans. Because right now I don't like their plan at all. They're planning to basically run back last year's team with just a few minor additions and whatever they get in the draft. I'm not wild about that plan at all. But if they took Sanders, I could make my peace with it. I would, like I said, I would probably, add somebody up front on either offense or defense. But at least with Sanders, it would be an infusion of life into this.
Absolutely.
The fan base could say, okay, we're not sure. It's not like this guy's John Elway, okay? But we think maybe there's a chance. And if he does hit, well, then you got your quarterback for a long time.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
I'm high on Shador. He's my number one quarterback in this class, which I know I'm on an island on pretty much there. He's a really good processor. I think a lot of his holding onto the ball had to do with the offense they ran. There was a whole lot of downfield routes. It was a bit of a simple offense. There's not a whole lot of spacing. Travis Hunter is like the one guy, of course, that we're trying to get to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He was pressured at like 230 times last year. The next quarterback in this class was 160, I believe, maybe Jackson Dart. So he was pressured way more than everyone else was. He did, I think, start to see the pass rush coming a little bit because his pocket awareness started to drift as the season went on. But I'm in on Shador Sanders, and I think that would absolutely give this franchise a bolt of energy that they just have not had, which is almost a reason enough to make this move.
It remains to be seen how much Deion wants to be involved. If Deion's involved in the pre-draft process, look, I'm not wild about any of this stuff. And I said that about Archie Manning. I said that about Jack Elway. I'm not Zion Williamson's dad. I'm not for that. Okay, these guys are men. They've got agents. Stay out of it. All right. But I am at least coming around to the idea that after the draft process is over, that Deion, as Shador gets older, Deion will, he'll coach his team, and Shador will, he'll play his game. If he's in New Orleans, I certainly hope that is the case. We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up here at Walk-Ons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Was with Paul Skeen's first start at PNC against Chicago Cubs. It was a Saturday. It was at Los Reyes. That's right. Man, I couldn't even finish my meal the other night. I had so much generous portions. When I came back from the plane from Vegas on Sunday evening, I took it home. Man, it's so good. And something about
Randy McKay's
the grilled chicken, the steak, it's really good, man. And the thing about it is with generous portions, the one thing I love about a Mexican restaurant, when they have their homemade tortillas. Excellent stuff. Go by and check it out. Go see my buddy Scott. Go see Miss Blair behind the bar. Go see Kyle over there at Los Reyes Mexican Grill. Always going to put the game on. They're very accommodating with the 3 TVs behind the bar. Great happy hour 7 days a week. Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, across from Mike Anderson's.
Live at lunch.
Baseball and softball players of all levels get the competitive edge you've been looking for at Total Diamond Performance.
Whenever you're ready, Jordan.
It's rolling.
This is Charles Hannegriff. Join me and Max Gotro for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch. For Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Randy McKay joins us from the Final Four. Andy Isco from Las Vegas. And we do first class, second class, no class. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. from Mike Anderson's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hi, I'm Dana Brown from the law offices of O.C. Brown. If you find yourself in an unfortunate situation with the law, call us today, and we can help you resolve your problem, whether it's just a traffic matter or something more serious. No criminal matter is too big or too small for us to aggressively and effectively represent you. Before making any decisions, call us at 225-343-1111 for your free consultation. You can also visit us at ocbrown.com. The law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life with a remanufactured product from Jasper Engines and Transmissions. A Jasper remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential will extend your vehicle's life, giving you the extra cash to do the things you really enjoy. And Jasper offers a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide parts and labor warranty. K&M Automotive, 636-2875. That's K&M Automotive, Siegen near Perkins.
When it comes to celebrating life, there's no better place than Ruffino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Ruffino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit ruffinosrestaurant.com. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Our 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon presented by the Baton Rouge Clinic is happening right now, and we couldn't make dreams come true without your help. This year, Service Chevrolet, Luba, Subaru of Baton Rouge, and Duplessis Builders have each pledged to match your donations once we reach $2,000. Whatever amount you can spare will get us that much closer to making more dreams come true for local kids suffering life-threatening illnesses.
Visit 1045ESPN.com to donate today.
The Grand Bayou Casino, conveniently located off I-10 at exit 139 in Gross Tech, offers the latest video poker machines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Got a great staff at the Grand Bayou Casino. Our inviting staff will greet you with complimentary coffee and sodas as you enjoy listening to the curated tunes in our comfortable seating. Make the trip to Grand Bayou Casino, where players are welcome. The Grand Bayou Casino, I-10 at the Gross Tech exit. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP. The Grand Bayou Casino. With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walkons in Brusly on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Finally, women's college basketball poll is out, and LSU finishes the season ranked 8th in the nation. Come on by here to Walk-Ons in Brusly for the national championship game tonight. Try the new Transfusion Cocktails, Zanola, Polymania beer, the Vacation Juice Pale Ale, your new seasonal beers here at Walk-Ons. Tomorrow we're at Mike Anderson's. For Max and Jordan, I'm Charles Henniger saying thanks and good afternoon, and stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Go Cougars.
At lunch.
This is Charles Henniger for Coastal Capital Advisors.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks.
Talk to you tomorrow.
So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because